It started with this crude crystal set, the first radio built by Powell Crosley, Jr. The next step was a transmitter which identified its static-covered voice as 8CR. And then one day, on March 22nd, 1922, the small voice became known to listening pioneers as WLW. The voice became stronger and reached out to these early receivers with 50 watts. A few months later, it reached sets beyond Cincinnati city limits with 500 watts. In January 1925, WLW became the nation's first 5,000-watt radio station. Now, even the microphones took on a professional look. A segment of the population put away Mahjong and the Charleston long enough to listen to this newfangled miracle. In 1928, WLW became a loud but lonely shout in the ether as its power was increased to 25,000 watts. Now that radio seemed here to stay, even the microphones became a little more substantial. WLW moved out of its cramped quarters into spacious and ornate studios. Programming was becoming an important factor. But the listener still had his problems and his thrills. Programming was even educational. In 1932, WLW racked up another first. It became again the world's most powerful station with 50,000 watts. From 1934 to 1939, WLW was the only commercial radio station in the world to operate experimentally on 500,000 watts. WLW became the birthplace of stars like the DeVores, the Ink Spots, the Mills Brothers, Doris Day, Red Skelton, Fats Waller, the Clooneys, Jane Froman, and many others. Finally, WLW, recognized as a leader, became the nation station. But what of today? What have all these years of broadcasting experience built? What are the nation stations today? What is their place in radio and television? Let's consider the three elements that make a radio or television station a potent medium. First, consider coverage, the mechanical or engineering factor. How much of the United States will the station signal cover? Where is its voice heard and its picture seen? Second, consider listenership. This is a matter of people, of human habit, of audience loyalty. How many people see your picture? How many people hear your voice? Next, consider the X factor. Its sales power based on integrity and measured by the listener's attitude toward your station. The quality that moves the advertiser's merchandise from the warehouse and retailer's shelf to the home. It can be called authority. Let's look at the Crosley Broadcasting Corporation and its 5 stations in light of all 3 factors. In addition to WLW and WLWT in Cincinnati, Crosley owns and operates WLWC in Columbus, Ohio, WLWD in Dayton, Ohio, and WLWA in Atlanta, Georgia. These stations are staffed with the finest engineering talent in the broadcast industry. WLW's physical layout is unequaled by any independent broadcasting station in America. The transmitters of WLW and the Voice of America, operated for the government by Crosley, represent the greatest single concentration of radio power in the United States. On the 675 acres of ground are over 1,000 poles and towers capable of handling 1,825,000 watts. This is more power than the nighttime power of all the 874 stations of 2 national networks combined. One example of Crosley's creative engineering is the Rockwell cathanode modulation system. This is a unique, high-quality modulation system which eliminates many of the costly components of ordinary systems and was invented by R.J. Rockwell, Vice President in charge of engineering. Crosley designed, built, and operated Voice of America transmitters daily beam messages through the Iron Curtain, despite frantic jamming by hundreds of communist transmitters. Constant work is conducted on all phases of broadcasting to improve performance of Crosley-built and operated radio and television transmitters. A powerful signal such as WLW's means the coverage of a great geographical area, the potential of reaching millions of radio receivers. WLW's basic effective area includes approximately 286 counties in 4 important states. 12 million people live within the WLW merchandisable area. They buy 6.7% of all the groceries sold in the United States. Drugstores here sell 6.9% of all the drugs sold in this country. And these shoppers purchase 6.5% of all the home appliances sold in America. Yes, this is a rich and active market, urban, suburban, and rural. Almost half the people in the WLW merchandisable area live on farms or in towns of 5,000 or less. These are rich farms, too. The farm income of the area is 7.7% of the nation's total. Yes, here is a rich and rewarding market, a market with a tremendous potential for any manufacturer, a market that can be sold through Crosley radio and television. But the people in these cities, on these main streets and farms, must have reasons for tuning to a radio or TV station. Loyalties must be established to bring them back to the same frequency or channel day after day. The element that builds high listenership and audience loyalty is programming. WLW has always been programmed to the listener's taste. One of its most popular programs is the nostalgic Moon River.
Moon River, a lazy stream of dreams, where vain desires forget themselves in the loveliness of sleep. Moon River, enchanted white ribbon, twined in the hair of night, where nothing is but sleep. Dream on, sleep on, care will not seek for thee. Float on, drift on, Moon River, to the sea.
While the loyalties of older listeners are held by favorites like Moon River, new loyalties are built among younger people with programs designed for their tastes. Today, the nation station spends more money on programming than any other independent station in America.
Here's the music that came up out of the sultry, twisting streets of old New Orleans, with life and vitality that's made it a classic form of true American music. Music from Dixieland on Dixieland Limited, with songs by Ruby Wright, Esther Hanlon, and the band. And here's Ruby Wright to sing the Basin Street Blues.
Won't you come along with me to the Mississippi?
It takes more than fine talent to program a station effectively. It takes the skills of many people never seen on a camera or heard on a mic.
Bill, rather than put those things away, would you put those...
It takes carpenters, painters, prop men, set designers, artists, and others to give the feeling of quality and professionalism to television. Crosley maintains a vast library of transcriptions of all kinds. Live or transcribed musical programs are actually programmed by musicians. A tremendous musical library valued at $750,000 furnishes orchestral and vocal arrangements for scores of live musical shows each week. Yes, at the Nation station, programming is both an art and a science.
That was Joe Luger and his ragtime band, and if you were in the studio, you'd see that that's so today. And what's the name of that thing, Joe?
Playfellow.
Same to you. Throughout the morning. The Playfellow March, you mean, huh?
That's right.
Quite a fellow, Joe Luger and his orchestra here, an extra
Pretty a
night.
girl between here and the Rio Grande.
No, it's a guy. Joe is J-O-E, Joe Luger in the orchestra. You see, a swell fella, Harvard 39, Yale nothing. Now let's get on with the Midwestern Hayride.
Each listener can find the type of entertainment he enjoys on Crosley stations. One of the oldest programs on television has proved its popularity to such an extent that it is a featured NBC TV program. It's the Midwestern Hayride.
Now here's the driver of your Midwestern Hayride, you, Jerry!
Oh, we got a big house tonight, haven't we? And we're awful glad to have you out there, too.
Everybody's Farm is an actual farm operated by the Nation station. Farm programs which originate on this farm have an authenticity seldom achieved. Farming is a serious business here at Everybody's Farm. Farmers and farm dealers are brought together at the farm for entertainment and for some mighty fine eating. Stars on both Crosley radio and television consistently draw high ratings. Their easy informality and varied talents attract maximum audiences day after day. But perhaps the best proof of successful programming can be found in the nationally known 50-50 Club with Ruth Lyons and Willie Thal. Tickets for this luncheon program are sold for 3 years in advance. What is the secret of Ruth Lyons' fabulous popularity? Perhaps you'll discover the secret. Let's step into the control room.
The 50-50 Club, starring Ruth Lyons with
Next
Willie
line.
Thal.
Stand by on 2 to altitude.
It's fun to get together, fun to get together, fun to get together every day at 12 o'clock. No matter what the weather, it's fun to get together. We're all birds of a feather, together we will flock. It's fun to get together, it's fun to get together, it's fun to get together every day at 12 o'clock. Woo! Don't you, boy?
You ought to be in pictures.
Now, we have been through, this is the worst yet. You still got that?
Excuse me, it's worse today, but I'm glad the lights...
This past year, in a brief period, Ruth Lyons raised from listeners a total of $143,000 as a Christmas fund for youngsters in hospitals. This was more than the total raised in a similar effort by a highly popular network program.
Tell one.
I can't, I didn't get the signal.
Well, tell one anyway.
Oh,
Good
I
for the
was
show.
once married to a hula dancer.
Really?
Yeah, but she wiggled out of it.
The world now is a completely new concept in local and regional programming. It is service programming at its finest and most complete. The audience demands and deserves the most complete and accurate news coverage. Through its newly constructed Communications Exchange, soon to be housed in its own building, WLW is constantly in touch with its local, regional, and national correspondents through shortwave, tape recorders, teletype, telephone, wire services, and facsimile. In a highly organized and fully equipped communication center, news and features are gathered smoothly and efficiently and relayed to both radio and television audiences. Throughout COMEX, nothing has been neglected to make this the most complete and efficient service facility in independent broadcasting. The World Now brings to the audience a complete news service. Features, music, interviews, everything in sound from a dog pound to a symphony rehearsal. The World Now is the result of 5 years of research on radio news presentation, not just another program idea. Will it be fair and warmer, or will it be cloudy with showers? As a part of its World Now service to listeners, the Nation Station has established a complete weather bureau in COMEX. Staffed by former government meteorologists and equipped with the most modern instruments, including special weather radar equipment, the World Now service is able to furnish listeners and viewers with up-to-the-minute forecasts.
The Ohio Valley is rather summer-like today, and of course that usually in springtime means there's a storm on the way, and that is effectively what we have on the weather map this morning. But the storm's playing games with us, I think, because the storm has come down across the northern Rockies into the plains and now recurved off in a northerly direction. In that position, of course, it's sending its weather on north and eastward, but it's tending to go around the Ohio Valley. So let's take a look at the overall pattern first of all. First of all, the high pressure condition along the Atlantic seaboard is continuing to push on down.
These are the first two factors that make a successful broadcasting operation. A strong signal for maximum coverage and programming to attract the largest possible audience. One factor remains, the X factor. The vital factor that helps move merchandise from shelves and counters. It's made up of audience loyalty, of station integrity, and good audience relations. How can an advertiser keep in touch with his customers? How can a station measure preference in product and programming? WLW does it with the People's Advisory Council. Just what is the PAC? The PAC is a panel of women selected from all age and income brackets, both urban and rural. Through questionnaires, WLW gauges their reactions to advertising campaigns, to package designs, programming, and other factors that determine the success or failure of a program or a product. Thus, the advertiser can accurately determine the effectiveness of a campaign on WLW. National campaigns can be pre-tested, and the advertiser can know his sales standing in the market. The Nation Station has long believed that there is much more to radio and TV salesmanship than just the commercial. While the Nation Station's transmitters carry the advertiser's message into the home with impact, 4 floors below, hard-hitting sales messages are flowing out to the advertisers, dealers, and distributors in WLW's merchandisable area. Thus, through the Client Service Department, both merchandising and advertising campaigns are coordinated for the advertiser. Accurate, up-to-date mailing lists are maintained on all types of retail outlets throughout the 4-state area. By maintaining a constant flow of interesting material to these retail outlets, WLW is able to tie the advertiser closer to his dealers, to keep the dealer conscious of the advertising support he is receiving, to stimulate dealer interest in special sales and promotions. Each year, thousands of promotion pieces of almost unlimited variety are prepared for WLW advertisers. These reach dealers through the mail and through personal visits of WLW's merchandising field men. The Nation Station promotes its programs to the public through newspaper ads, through cab covers, and a variety of other media. Perhaps one of the most complete merchandising services offered by any radio or television station is the WLW Point of Purchase Plan. This plan assures the advertiser of excellent representation in the area's leading chain and independent retail outlets. Crosley field men build thousands of product displays in retail outlets throughout the four-state area each year. By constant personal visits, these men help assure the advertiser of better displays, better location for their displays, more shelf space, and better inventories of his products. By tying in these displays with radio and television advertising, the Point of Purchase Plan gives added impact to every advertising dollar. With this plan, the nation station carries through its function as an advertising medium right down to the place and time of the actual sale. The nation station offers the advertiser a potent medium together with a complete tailor-made merchandising program. This is the Crosley story, the story of top engineering which guarantees maximum geographical coverage. The story of programming skill, which attracts a maximum audience and builds a solid base of listener and viewer loyalty. The story of product and program promotion, of advertising backed by merchandising. The story of radio and television salesmanship, of merchandise that moves. Yes, this is the story of the nation station, where more advertisers spend more money to reach more people, to sell more merchandise than any other station in America. This is WLW, the nation station.